I'm going to, for fun, analyse the word sold as I spelt it. Old, as in a foal, a young horse. O-A-L-D, old. How perhaps we should spell old instead of simply O-L-D, O-A-L-D. Sold, an S in front, right? Okay. Now I can analyse it for sounds or letters or numbers of letters, numbers of each letter. Let me try sounds first of all. I have already, haven't I? Well, L. Remember L, the name of the letter, is the word for God. D is a finality. It's past. D. Dad. He's the finality of both ends, the infinite past and the infinite future, with an A, the beginning of all things, in the middle. Sir. What sound does that have for you? Sun. Signal. Sugar. Oh, that's sure. Okay. Well, S is lurking in there somewhere, isn't it? Silver. That's a value. To shine. Oh, that's SH. Well, S is there still. Sold. O. The O. Old. Well, the O is a zero in our mind as well. It's the beginning of things, or the absence of things in a way. Nothing's there. But the A is the beginning of life. It's all things, isn't it? It's very definite. It's one. My notion that, what does God do? He takes nothing and divides it, this chaos of nothing, not even chaos. And what's he get? What happens if you divide 0 by 0? Mathematician says, it's impossible. Marshall says you get 1. It's the very essence of creation. You take what the material man sees as only the material. He looks at nothing and says there's nothing there. And God takes the nothing and he creates material universe with it. We're amazed. We're all, oh my goodness, we're impressed. Only God could do this. Fantastic. No, not at all. You started from the wrong premise. You assumed there was nothing there because you are not detecting anything with your extremely limited senses. I mean, for instance, your colour vision is extremely narrow in range. There's an infinite more number of waves on the spectrum than you are detecting with your eyesight. Some of them very valuable, some of them very dangerous. Some of them beautiful. And the near-death experiences, they see these colours and they're amazed. The nature of light, in fact, is infinitely more than we are sensitive to with our bodies in the natural. Take the body away and apparently the spirit sees it all. Wow! Take the mind away and apparently the soul has the mind of God. It gets answers before it asks the question. It knows everything, it sees everything, and time is irrelevant. It can happen in all at once. You see and understand it all at once, because suddenly you have full access to the mind of God instead of the narrow confines of what you're experiencing here in this world, in the material body. It got nothing to do with the word. Where was I? Sold. Oh yes. S, signal, sign, sight, sun, solar, Soggy. Well, permeating, isn't it? These sounds have meanings for us, and how we use them in poetry and in being a master of words is precisely that. They have certain connotations, especially in our own culture in certain ways, but we find it across culture because cultures have been mixing probably for many thousands, if not longer, years. And perhaps there's a common ancestry of experience. You know, the a, ah, ah. What's your reaction if you suddenly get some ah? It's a sort of ah. And it's a burst of breath. So that sort of sound is associated, and it's the first letter of our alphabet. It's associated with the beginning, which sounds like some act of God, to shift from the O to the A, O to A, and put the two together. We have a mystery. It's called life. And who does it? L, God. And it's finality of God, the permanence, the integrity of God, the D, Dad. Hence the word dead, incidentally, because people see it as a finality, D, Ed, D, But in fact it's got an E in the middle, an F sound, and E is the fifth letter. The fifth is what God adds in this finality. And he's infinite. Do you see now we've got some astonishing, or perhaps you think ridiculous, insight into the view of the word dead. Well, actually, that's the sound, isn't it? I'm on my phonetics, but if we spell dead as D-E-A on the apparently absurd English spelling system of doing things, you've got the finality of God and the very beginning, A, of creation, material man. Notice man has an A in the middle, A. We won't worry about the rest of the word. We can go on forever. But do you see? So come back to soald. Sunshine, S. It's something to do with vibrancy of life. You know, material man thinks he gets all of his energy from the sun or from stars. And he is running on much of such, there's no question of that. But the energy actually in the atoms of his body, well, we're not clear as that didn't exist before the stars. We're not quite sure how it can exist in the pieces we try to make it, like in the amazing modern experiments with atoms and so on. So a simple word like soald, which has become a way of communicating, transaction, legally now supported, has a finality to it, D, is something of God. Of course, it's a creation, isn't it? It's a creation, again, from nothing to something, which God apparently is a specialist at. Even we have just a thought, we know not where it comes from, and we think, I'd like to go and live in New Zealand. And 12 months later, he's on a plane to New Zealand. Wow. How did that come about? Because we're children of God. What we play at reflects what God does. He creates, our dad. We are the astonishing creators. Look at the modern technology we have. I mean, I'm impressed. Every time I use my satellite navigation in the car to find my way around a city I don't know. Wow. Be nice if they all spoke my language. Fortunately, being English, most of the world feels they should speak English. Even the Chinese, I couldn't believe that. They made it compulsory at school. Wow. That's like poor old Constantine finding that the enemy's got the same religion as your Roman troops. Oh dear. How did that happen? Change that. We'll have Christianity instead. My form of it. By proclamation. Anyone say no? No, sir. Hail Caesar. Including the priests. What do they do? Change from being pagans overnight to being Christian. Dodgy, isn't it? Bit dodgy. Are you sure he is Christian? He is converted, is he? Oh, yes, yes. It's like in our Pentecostal churches, you get, a gang member who's suddenly seen the light. And of course, he's seen the light more than anyone in the congregation. It's just that he's got this war paint all over his face. And, he's been a motorbike boy for the last, probably the last 15 years in prison. But, I mean, but he's seen the light. And the mums with their kids are not entirely convinced, although they're supposed to be born again. But you can understand it, can't you? Because we're used to seeing signals. The wrong signals, really. Talk to the man. See what he's like. Tell him, don't disappear after the service. We have coffee and tea, and come and join us here. Come and have a cake, mate. And you put him at ease, and you find he's more saintly than you are, because he's just found God. And he's wonderful to know. You need to see miracles. There's lots of them. It's just that you're not necessarily where they're happening. You have to be like Paramahansa, determined to make sure you are where they're happening. Go and see, go and talk to, demand an audience with the saint. I'm not leaving till I talk to him. Oh. All right, well, I'll ask him. Yeah, he says he'll see you. In fact, he comes out to see you. Why? Because he's a child of God. Someone's looking, someone's seeking. Who? I must go and see. In fact, if he's really smart, he knew you were coming. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.